Hey, hopefully this fan in the back isn't too loud, but if it is, you guys just let me know. I'm having to start a little bit earlier today than usual, so you guys are going to have to deal with just me this time, but I'm going to go through a second part of the bankruptcy hearing of Laura Owens' parents, Ronn Owens and Jan Black, who were called out by the DOJ attorney for misleading GoFundMe donors, which we all had a hunch that was going on when they raised money for Ronn's struggles during, hardship because of medical issues, but really they were just trying to pay their bills to get out of debt because they spent an exorbitant amount of money, especially on their daughter's legal activities over the years. This family has very much been complicit in her scams and her abuse of her victims over the years, and I don't at all feel bad for them that they're facing the consequences. So we'll pick up where we left off last night. I'm not sure how much I'm going to go through this afternoon, but we'll get as far as we can, and then we'll come back for the last part tomorrow. How about that? But yeah. All right, let's see. Pull this up here. Yep, I got to move my head. And thanks again to our friend Schnitzel Ninja for getting this for us and posting it, and also All the Best Research, who also posted this online for everyone to access. We appreciate the help. So, all right. I won't waste any more time dilly-dallying. Let's just start off where we left off.
Insurance payout, it would help to pay.
Oh, you know what? They're talking about the life insurance payment because they made a life insurance payment instead of paying towards their mortgage or anything else. There is one thing I wanted to show you guys because I was a little confused about that as well, and I thought that's kind of strange. I feel a little odd about that, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it because I don't know a whole lot about life insurance other than I pay into it at my work or whatever. But somebody did post something about this. Let's see if I can find it. So, I know it was on the subreddit. I don't see it here. If I can't find it, we'll just move on. Oh my God, I'm about to sneeze. I'm so sorry. Hold on. Whew. Okay. Here it is. I'll share this that instead. Life insurance. Long time invested in this case. First time having an original thought towards something that you brilliant people haven't already thought of. Humor me. And this is from TWN Mama 19. It says this life insurance payment and the insistence it got paid got me thinking. I used to work in that arena selling life insurance and wealth planning. One of the selling points was that you can use your whole life policy to borrow cash on. So if Ronn has had a whole life policy for 30 plus years, you can loan off the cash value using your policy as collateral. And if he had something called an accelerated death benefit rider, he might be getting cash from that. From the webs, ADB allows policyholders with a terminal illness to access part of the death benefit amount while they're still alive, usually to help pay for needed care. The company may need proof of life expectancy from a medical provider in order to accelerate the death benefit. Sums paid out will typically reduce the amount dispersed to beneficiaries after death. Now, if Ronn Owens was as critically ill as Jan and Laura claim, they might be pulling loans off this life insurance policy using his illness. So my theory is that they are taking out cash loans off the life insurance policy to pay for Laura's lawyer, making payments to the loan so that the policy remains active. When Ronn finally passes, they take the outstanding cash loan amount from the death payment. If this is happening, I bet money to donuts they have another account they're not disclosing, possibly a money market tied with their LI company, life insurance company, to funnel the cash in/out. I have a money market account with my financial management company, and it doesn't show on any credit report or anywhere else. I can pay bills right from the account or pull cash to another. Keep up the fight, JFCers. Now, I don't know 100% if this is accurate or not, but it's just another theory floating out there. You guys have to let me know in the comments what you think about that. And if you think that's plausible or not. So let's go back here now. I just wanted to make sure you guys saw that, and we will continue on with the hearing. And I'll try not to interrupt every second. Hang on.
For living expenses. So yeah, I think in a certain way it is important. And again, it's been a 30-year payment that we don't want to lapse. That he doesn't want to lapse, correct?
Yeah. Explain my illnesses. Explain my illnesses to Jan I cannot understand you, Mr. Owens. You have to enunciate better or step away from the phone. It's very muffled.
Yeah, I let my wife talk. Go ahead.
No, I want to hear what you have to say. I'd like to hear from Mr. Owens. I just couldn't understand what he was saying. It sounded like he was on top of the phone.
Yeah. When I'm sitting here, I'm trying to absorb it as best I can. I've got a lot of really painful issues going on right now. But what I'm trying to say is you can take anything that we've given to anybody and then just say, does this really count or this doesn't count? The point is, we are as transparent as possible. We don't have some kind of a fund in the I don't know, in Costa Rica or something like that. We have nothing to hide.
So Ron is saying that they don't have a fund stashed away in foreign banks, you know what I mean, or they don't have foreign assets. But that's not really what they're being accused of. But they're not being accused of hiding money. The fact that they're denying hiding money elsewhere is kind of sus, actually, because nobody's accusing them of that. It's that they've misappropriated the funds that they've been given openly, right? So it's kind of weird that they're harping on that. I won't read too much into it. Also, I just want to say that I don't wish Ron any harm or illness. I think that it sucks that he has painful conditions. As he said, he's dealing with a lot of painful conditions. I think that's awful, and I won't speculate too much on the state of his health right now because I don't see him. I don't know, right? But also, just because somebody is sick doesn't mean they shouldn't be held accountable for their actions. So they do have to do this, Okay.
Everything we're doing is trying to give exactly what you've asked us to do.
Okay. All right. So now I want to talk about, you keep mentioning your pension and Social Security income. And in fact, over an 18-month period, you had because I have all of your bank statements and I was able to calculate, you had $378,600 of income from pension and Social Security alone. Correct?
In 18 months?
Yes.
Yeah, in a year and a half. Yeah.
Okay. And you're saying that those funds were not sufficient to cover your regular living expenses?
Well, I again, the statements speak for themselves. You can see what came in and you can see what went out.
Well, I'm asking you, at the time that you were collecting in an 18-month period, you had income from Social Security and pension of over $21,000 per month at the time that you asked for GoFundMe funds.
And it's insane that anybody can't live off that. The only reason you would not be able to live off of that is if you've done some serious mismanagement of your finances in the past. In this case, to participate in their daughter's scams. So again, this is why I don't really feel too bad for them. All those lawyers cost money, except, in Mike's case, she did use resources meant for domestic violence victims, legal resources meant for them. I don't know how much it cost her or if it cost her anything. But during these Arizona cases, it was costly. She went through a lot of lawyers. She, was dropped by a lot of them. And one of them even had to file a notice of candor because he found out she wasn't honest during their process. But those lawyers are expensive. And this has been going on for a decade, at least. So, they obviously aren't going to admit that. And I think at some point in this hearing, they're going to deny knowing who's paying for. I know they're going to deny who's paying for Christian Laura's current attorney, and that's a bunch of fucking bullshit. So, real quick, thank you, Wild One Flower, for the 30 gems. Thank you. And Lori Jane, thank you for the 2 gems for the Silver Star. Awesome. Thank you guys so much. And CMBBY, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. I really appreciate that. Thanks. All right.
And you're telling me that even though you had over $21,000 per month in combined income, which was guaranteed income from pension and Social Security, you still needed to ask for GoFundMe funds?
Because at that point, we had had a lot of expenses that we hadn't anticipated, and we also, our other sources of income had dried up. And so, yeah, we had gotten we've gotten in a bad situation. Again, you can tell better than I can from looking at the statement.
Yes, I can. And I'll tell you that if you look at daily living expenses, right? And I'm looking at your Schedule Schedule J. And you just filed this. It was docketed yesterday. We're going to look at your Schedule J. And you actually...
And I'm sure you guys don't necessarily need to be reminded, but Jennifer has asked Jan to produce or look at her documents, reference her documents that she filed the day before this hearing multiple times. And she asked her to get her computer multiple times, which Jan could just go get because it's a laptop. And she pivots and avoids and obfuscates every single time. So there are going to be some frustrating parts here where Jennifer is asking them to clarify something in their financial documents, and Jan is just gonna be like, I don't have it in front of me, so it sucks. But they're gonna have to go in for a deposition where they will have to answer these questions. It'll be private. It will not be a public hearing type thing, but they will have to answer these questions. So
did not properly add up the amounts. Do you have a copy of your amended schedules from yesterday?
Again, I don't have my laptop here. We're doing this not in a room where I have access to that. I thought it was just telephonic.
Okay, well then I might have to have you come in. I'll do the best I can, but
I agree, drunk as turtle.
It's kind of frustrating that you don't have your own documents in front of you.
Very frustrating, very weird.
If we look at just utilities, mortgage, healthcare, groceries, and home.
And anyone who's serious about this shit is going to have the documents in front of them. Anyone who's doing this in good faith is going to have the documents in front of them. You're going to be dialed in. You're going to be worried about that because you're going to be thinking, this is a way that I'm trying to save myself from my financial situation. I legitimately want to go through this process the way that I'm supposed to. You're going to have the documents in front of you. You're going to care enough to make that effort. But these people filed for bankruptcy, in my opinion, just to I don't think it's even an opinion. I think they've admitted this, just to put off the foreclosure of their home. And it's not working out because the judge wouldn't let them dismiss right after. The judge said, no, we're not doing that. We're not abusing resources like that. So Lori Jane, thank you for the 30 gems. I appreciate that very much. Hear me out. Thank you for the 5. Someone's got to save Ron from Jan and Laura. What a nightmare. Does Jan not remember Laura is up for perjury? Stop lying, both of you. They can't. They can't stop lying because if they tell the truth, they're admitting to a crime. They'll never admit to their crimes. They're going to go down swinging is pretty much how I feel. That's good advice. Hear me out. It's good advice, but they're not going to take it. Heather Dawn Marks, thank you for the 1,000 gems. Wow. Thank you very much. I just learned what gems were yesterday, so that's very cool. I get lots of people sending me those, so that's awesome. Hear me out. Thank you for the 5 again. This idiot thought she was going to dock dump Jen, but Jan doesn't realize she can't overwhelm number bots. Accountants rule the world. That is true. All right. Thank you, guys. We'll keep going here.
Home maintenance, you would have in excess of $3,000 a month of disposable income. If you just look at your $20,000 or over $21,000 per month gross income. So
you look at you said what? Utility, mortgage, and what?
Utilities, mortgage, healthcare, groceries, and home maintenance. The things that I'm taking out, I did a thorough analysis of all of your bank statements, and there were significant transfers to your daughters. That's number one.
Yikes.
So in some way, it sounds like the GoFundMe funds were being used. Well, let's just admit this. The GoFundMe funds were commingled with your income from pension and Social Security, correct?
There you
go. They came in specifically to my husband's account, and the only thing else other than the GoFundMe that comes into that account for him is his Social Security.
Right.
And then we made transfers from his account to our main checking account to disperse for bills that needed to be paid.
All right, I'm going to ask my question again. So, based on what you just said,
man, if I'm Jennifer, there's not enough Red Bull in the world for this. Not a sponsored ad, by the way. If Red Bull wants to sponsor me, they can, but they tend to want to sponsor sports people, and I am currently not that. So I'm just a person who sits through painful bankruptcy hearings, apparently. But my God, like, I don't know how she's not freaking, like, I would freak out on these people. It's like, I cannot do this. And she probably does this all the time in her job, right? I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
Even though the GoFundMe funds were all going into the 0349 account, which is Mr. Owens' account, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Those monies were then transferred to other accounts and commingled with the funds in the other accounts, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So really, once you transferred the GoFundMe funds out of Ronn Owens' 0349 account, there was no way for us to be able to specifically account for how the GoFundMe funds were used, because now it was commingled with your pension and Social Security income as well as business revenue, right?
There was no business revenue coming in at that point.
Well,
If you're talking about when the GoFundMe came in, the main part of the GoFundMe was for I think January and February. I mean, it started in December of 2024, and I think the main part of it came in and went out in January and February, and I don't believe that there was business income coming in at that point on a significant level. I don't believe that it.
It doesn't really matter if it's significant. If you're in a bankruptcy hearing, you better disclose everything. Also, they're very shady about their business income. You know, at some points in time, to make it sound like Laura is a big successful CEO, which she's not, by the way. She works for a private LLC, if anything, which she doesn't really work. We know that she has never had a job, according to her own bankruptcy. But she tried to make it seem like she was a big shot CEO and making six figures every year. And then suddenly it's like, oh no, we didn't actually make that money. We didn't actually make that money. Okay, so that I would love to have seen all of this coincide with Clayton's family court case, but that obviously wasn't possible. That family court case led to the felony charges, and this eventually, because they keep paying for her attorneys, rather than admitting they've all conspired to commit crimes, to abuse people. So
That it would have been commingled with any business income.
all right. Well, now we're going to turn to that, because that's actually a very false statement. I have your bank accounts, Miss Naylor.
Oh, no.
And by August
Oh, no.
14th of 2025, which was the date you filed your Chapter 13 bankruptcy, the LLCs had received, at that point, over $41,000 of business receipts.
Yeah.
You're denying that? I mean, it says it on the bank statements.
Yes, we have somebody to do it.
I can't understand you, Mr. Owens. Can't understand you. You gotta back up.
The bell rang, and we had somebody at the door. We've taken care of the problem.
So you're saying the doorbell rang, somebody went to take care, assuming Laura went to go take care of it. So yeah. I don't know who rang the doorbell. Hopefully it wasn't another wellness check, but I don't know.
Besides the Jan.
Okay. I'm sorry. So you said that
I have done an audit of your bank statements, all 8 of them. It's thousand. It's like, you gave me like what, 8 accounts for 18 months. Each of them is about 400 pages. So I don't know the math on that, but I think it's over 3,000 pages of documents.
Jeez.
You filed your bankruptcy, your Chapter 13 bankruptcy on August 14th, 2025, correct?
correct.
And by that point, your LLCs in 2025 alone, so we're talking January 1st, 2025 to August 14th, 2025, your LLCs had generated over $41,000 of business receipts. You going to deny that?
No.
Okay. So you just said, you just said a few moments ago, you said, oh, at that time they were.
Well, somebody here says false statement equals perjury. She's a corker. And that's true right here. But because they did swear to tell the truth under oath at the start of this hearing. But what we know is, like, it's exceptionally rare to prosecute perjury. So I reserve a little bit of caution that they will actually be charged with anything related to lying in these hearings. However, their financial activity is so egregious, I think there is something they could probably catch them on, at least some fraudulent activity. But I don't know if they'll ever be charged for perjuring themselves or making false statements in these hearings. It is exceptionally rare. Laura is the exception to the rule. It's unfortunate that that is the exception to the rule, but if the government prosecuted people for perjury every time, our courts would be even more overwhelmed than they already are. So, like, I'm a little weary that they might get away with this, but I think we're finally at the reckoning where they're gonna get, finally have to face some consequences for their actions. It's going to be a slow process. There's going to be a deposition that we're not privy to, and we'll have to wait and see what happens. But yes, false statement equals perjury in this context. So,
the businesses weren't making money. So do you want to change your answer to that?
Yeah, because there was money going out. Everything that was coming in was going out. I don't think that if you look at I think there's a pretty clear trail too with regards to the LLCs that everything that was coming in was going out. There weren't any surpluses. They were going to pay expenses.
Well, that's funny because I don't see the expenses, business expenses, as you're suggesting. I see a lot of payments to Laura and to Sarah Owens. There was over $20,000 of payments to your daughter.
Oof. And this is obviously the theory from a lot of people in a lot of different ways, that they're paying out money to Laura or to Sarah to get them to pay the legal fees for Laura in her criminal case. And that way they didn't use their money technically to pay for the lawyer. Technically, they gave the money to their daughters. And the thing is, it's going to end up being pretty obvious. There is in here, and the reason I think they're doing that, there's, oh my God, sorry, I accidentally hit my tiny violin. In here, there is a statement about the payment to Colesrud, and they try to write it off as a business expense, which is absolute bullshit. It's not a business expense. It's their daughter's personal felonies. But, so they're trying to dodge accountability, in my opinion, by giving the money away to Sarah and Laura, and then having Sarah and Laura spend the money however they want, aka on attorneys. I don't think that they are actually making a good faith effort to pay their bills. If anything, they're attempting to pay their daughters, gift their daughters money before paying their bills, which is a huge problem. So, Hear Me Out says the IRS is what they need to start worrying about. Yeah, the IRS is not going to play with this shit.
What is the time frame on the ones to Sarah?
Well, didn't you put that in? You tell me. I mean, you're asking me. You tell me. You just filed yesterday You were saying that this was in the time period between the GoFundMe and the Chapter 13 filing. Is that what you're saying? That there were $20,000 in payments to Sarah then? You made payments to. Well, no, I know that you just recently said that you made payments to Sarah within 2 years of.
This is going to sound really juvenile, but there's this Facebook group a long time when Facebook was cool, right? There used to be some funny groups I would always read. One of them was called "Are You Just Farting Into Your Hands and Typing the Farts into Your Keyboard?" And I feel like that's Jan's filing in this case. She's just farting into her hands and typing the farts onto the page. Like, this is so ridiculous.
This bankruptcy of over $21,000. But all right, let me see how we can.
And those were this year, and those were following the sale of a pony that we had. That was paid to Sarah this year.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
All right. Well,
exactly.
The bottom line is, let's just back up. I just want to focus. We're going to get away from the GoFundMe fund for a minute. When you filed your Chapter 13
Jan just breathed a huge sigh of relief. Little does she know there's worse coming.
Bankruptcy case. At that point, you had your LLCs, based on the bank statements, had over $41,000 of business income, correct?
For what time period?
From January 1st, 2025 to August 14th, 2025.
Okay.
Is that
The fact that she has to keep asking those questions is absolutely stupid.
correct?
Yeah, I don't have the figures here, but I'm obviously going with what you're saying for that time period from.
You admit in your amendment that you just filed that for the calendar year 2025, you put in your amended schedules filed yesterday that there were $81,059 worth of business revenue, gross income, in the calendar year 2025. That's what you have on your amended schedule. Then you're standing by that, correct?
Okay, in all of 2025, 81,000.
I'm reading from your
Business
amended schedules. This is your statement that you signed under oath.
Right.
Okay. So I looked at
I mean, this is like Laura and her vocal fry at the trial, where they're like asking her about the statement she previously made in her deposition or under oath in a court, and she's like, "Oh, that's not what I meant." Oh my God, like mother, like daughter, I guess, but like, this is so illuminating. Let's put it that way. It's just absolutely nutty. My God. And thanks everyone for being here, by the way. I know that a lot of people are covering this right now, and so it's kind of redundant for a lot of people, but I appreciate the support by you sticking around. So she's a Corker. Thank you for 1,000 gems. That's awesome. Living on Love 9346 sent 600 gems. 350 gems. Thank you so much for those two. And Rob, thank you for the 6 gems. Jen, thank you for the 250 gems. Oh my gosh, so many gems. Kirsty Jones, thank you for the 2 gems. I appreciate you guys. It's awesome. And Dima, thank you for the JOD 35. Hey, Lauren, if they told the truth, they wouldn't have to remember. Someone get Judge Judy up in here. I agree. That's true. But they don't even have the documents in front of them because they don't want to remember. They want to pretend they don't remember. If they really cared, like I said, they would have the stuff in front of them. So,
at the bank statements, and I calculated the amount of income or revenue that had been generated before you filed the Chapter 13 case, which was on August 14th, 2025. And it was roughly $41,000. Do you have any reason to dispute that?
Not at all.
Okay. But yet,
whatever is true.
Okay. But yet, when you filed the Chapter 13 case, you completely failed to disclose any of that business income on your statement of financial affairs that you signed under oath, correct?
Oh, that's awkward.
I believe that the thinking on that was that we didn't have anything in those accounts at that time, and that was why we did the Chapter 13, that there was no value from those.
No, we're talking about on the statement of financial affairs, you were required to list all gross income from a business for at the time, it would have been 2023, 2024, and for January 1st, 2025 till the date of the Chapter 13 filing. And you said none. That was false.
That was incorrect.
So that was a false statement.
All right. Well, I think that was a miscommunication between me and the attorney who was filing it. I had explained to him that we did have LLCs and that I felt that it was...
Okay, so now they're going to try to blame the attorney who was helping them, which is just stupid. If anything, I bet they did not follow the attorney's advice. So that's just idiotic. But they're going to have to show that, right? Also, some of you just got gifted memberships. YouTube allows me now to give out 10 free memberships per month. So I just gave out 5. Congrats to everyone who got one. Now you can hear me ramble more than everyone else, which is not necessarily a prize, but you can go to the membership tab of my YouTube channel if you click on my profile and see everything that's members only now. So you can see everything from the past and everything from the present. That's for members. So Redondo Beach, also, thank you for the 200 gems. I appreciate that. All right, let's keep listening here. But they try to blame the attorney. They'll try to blame anyone else, of course. They try to blame, violations by the mortgage, the lender or whatever, or the company. And I don't know, it's anybody's fault but theirs, and it's just not going to work anymore. So let's put it that way.
It was a personal bankruptcy, and we didn't have anything in those accounts at that time.
Well, the fact of the matter is it was a false statement, correct?
I don't have that.
It's a yes or no
Chapter
answer.
13 filing with me right now, and so I don't know what, I can't see it in person, so I can't really say.
Well, I'm telling you, looking at it right now, I'm looking at it. Docket number 1 from case number 25-7596. You were required to list all gross income from operating a business, and you had none. You said there was none. You're going to deny that?
There was none. Because there was none coming in at that time.
These guys might want to edit their LinkedIn profiles after this.
I think that's what that refers to. There was none coming in at that time, and we were operating at a loss.
AJ416 says, like the miscommunication when Jingy thought Laura had $450K in a money market. Right, so Laura tried to throw Gingras under the bus during her bankruptcy. They're like, it was David's fault. David did this, and I signed it, and now it was David. And then they're trying to blame their lawyer now. Say, no. Just, you're a liar. Just, at this point, just take responsibility, and it'll go easier than it will later on, but they're not going to do that, so we'll see.
Okay, you were required to list all gross income before deductions and exclusions. It specifically says that on the form.
Well, again, the context of it was that there was no income coming in.
Gross income. Well, really, but that's false, actually. What you're saying is a false statement, Miss Naylor, because I looked at your bank statements and there was over $41,000.
Jennifer doesn't even know what her name is either. It's Jan Elizabeth Naylor Black Owens. I don't know.
Dollars of revenue generated by the LLCs from January 1st, 2025 to August 14th, 2025. Are you going to deny that? That's what the bank statements say.
But I'm saying that as of when we were filing for the bankruptcy, we were operating at a loss on all of those, and we didn't have anything coming in to, that's what I think the context of that was. But again, I don't have the documents in front of me, but that's what, and you can look at the statements. Anytime we had any money coming in at all from the businesses, it was going right out to pay expenses. It was going right out.
You understand
I have no sympathy for that, and I'm sure most people don't either. Like, if you get that much money per month, you should be living large. You should not be flailing like this. This is ridiculous.
term gross income, don't you?
Yes.
And you read these the forms that you signed under penalty of perjury, did you not?
I had worked with the attorney to, when he had asked me the questions and everything, and yes, I signed them, yes.
Okay, and it specifically says on the form, gross income before deductions and exclusions, right? Isn't that what the form says?
Well,
I'm asking you if that's what all right, that's what the form says, correct?
I don't know. I don't have the form in front of me. Again, I would have to look at the context of it, and I'm trying to explain to you what the context was. That we did not have. Okay.
You seem to have understood what was required to be disclosed when you filed the amendment yesterday, because you did accurately state that in the calendar year 2025, there was total gross income to your businesses of over $81,000. So you understood it yesterday, right?
Right.
Why the fuck do these people need $140,000 in GoFundMe money? I mean, we know the answer, but to their supporters who haven't heard all this, who might be listening to this now, why the fuck would you give money to this family? Honestly, this is disgusting.
But you didn't understand it earlier, even though you had an attorney earlier?
No, because again, in the context of where we were when we were filing the Chapter 13, we were not we had to file it because we didn't have income coming in, that we were having losses. We were not profitable. We were losing money. It was a drain. So there wasn't any attempt to hide anything. And as I say, we had filed as a personal bankruptcy, and I was thinking, like I say, at the time too, that the LLCs were separate.
Well, let me just ask you this. One of the things in the earlier Chapter 13 case, let's just look at, you were supposed to provide the gross income for part of 2025 up through the petition date, for 2024 and for 2023. Okay? Do you recall that?
Okay.
And this case, which was filed May 22nd, 2026, you were also required to provide 2024 income, 2025 income, and income for January 1st until the date that you filed on May 22nd, 2026, correct?
If you say so.
If you say
well,
so.
you don't have your schedules. I'm going to ask that you go get your computer or whatever. I mean, you don't have hard copies of your filings in this case?
No, I stopped trying to print everything out a long time ago because.
Lady, go get your computer. Just go get your computer. You're at your house.
I don't want to know why you stopped printing things out. Please, you're making this longer than it has to be. Can you pull up on your computer while you're on the phone and pull up the documents that you just filed yesterday?
Hang on a second.
We need you to do that because you are sitting here claiming to be ignorant about documents that you've signed and filed in this case yesterday under oath.
I'm not claiming to be ignorant about anything.
Wait,
You're saying that you don't remember, but this is.
Please. She's like, I don't remember. I don't have it in front of me. Oh, if you say so, I'm just gonna have to trust what you're reading. Lady, stop playing dumb. I mean, she's not that smart, in my opinion, based on what we've seen during this whole ordeal. They've been savvy and like putting off their doomed circumstances to come for years and years and years and years, but ultimately not that smart. Otherwise, they would have avoided this altogether. So.
Something you filed yesterday. Go get your amended schedules, please.
You were asking me about what had been filed in 2025 in the Chapter 13. That was the last thing you asked me.
No, I was asking you about, I said you had to, in this case, also disclose your gross income for businesses. I just asked you that and you said, if you say so. And I'm not gonna work like that. You need to have the document in front of you that you signed under oath so that I can examine you about it. So
Okay.
Okay. Does anyone who hasn't seen this think Jan is going to go get her laptop? Say yes or no in the chat. This is absurd that she didn't have this in front of her to begin with, but also like they can only put this off for so long. When they go to that deposition, they're going to have that information in front of them. They cannot deny this anymore. And then when they're at the deposition, they can just give them the documents to read if they try to pretend they don't have the documents or couldn't print them. That's absurd. So this isn't going to last much longer.
What? So can you just finish the question for me? Can you just finish the question and I can see if I can perhaps answer it in that way? Just finish your question for me.
Well, yesterday you filed a sworn statement attesting that the gross income of your businesses for 2024 was $40,785. Right?
Okay. Well, that is interesting because I believe in 2024, Laura was saying that she and her mother in just one of those businesses was bringing in like $200,000 under oath. So that's interesting.
Okay.
Is that correct?
Okay. Yes.
That same information was omitted, was not disclosed in your Chapter 13 statements. Would you admit that?
Not accurate anyways, but no.
Again, I believe it was because of the LLCs and the differentiating between the LLCs and our personal situation that we were not.
Okay,
filing
that I
for
understand.
bankruptcy.
Right, I understand. However, if you look at the question in the Chapter 13 statement, it's the identical question that you answer in the Chapter 11. They are the same exact wording, the same, asking for exactly the same information. In the Chapter 13, you disclose nothing. And now in your amendment from yesterday, you disclosed over $40,000 of gross business income. They are not, one is true and one is not true. Would you agree? They can't both be true.
Well, the truth lies in the context.
No, the truth lies in the fact that they were both exactly the same question. That's why you need to pull
The truth lies in the context. No.
up the documents.
No,
There's no context. They are both the same question, Miss Naylor. Item number 4 on the Statement of Financial Affairs is the same exact question that was on the Chapter 13 statements, that is in the Chapter 11 statements. Now, suddenly, you're disclosing over $40,000 of business income for the year 2024 that was never disclosed in the Chapter 13.
Jan.
But
No.
again, the Chapter 13 was filed in 2025, and the Chapter 11 was filed in 2026, and you're going back to 2024. Let me explain something.
No. I want you, because this is deviating again. No, I don't want you to explain anything. I want you to go get. No. I want you. No. I do not want clarification. If I need clarification from.
She takes no as well as Laura does. When Clayton said no, I don't want to be with you like that. No. Jan takes no about as well as Laura does. She does not go get her laptop, needless to say. You're going to find that out pretty soon. But DMC says, does Ron need rescuing? And the truth is, Ron could be, after his career, in his retirement, could be living a much better life than he is right now. But he's not, because these parents endorsed their daughter's crimes, and Jan is a fucking clown. And she's, trying to avoid accountability for all this, and she's not going to be able to do that. She's no match for the DOJ and eventually for the IRS, probably. It's not going to work out.
From you, I will tell you, I am getting frustrated with you because you don't have the schedules in front of you. So why I'm going to ask that you pull up, go get your computer, or I don't know if you have a desktop and you and Mr. Owens can move over there, or if you have a laptop that you can put in front of you. But I need for you to pull up docket number 78 that was docketed yesterday in this case. And then I'm going to also ask that you pull up your petition from the Chapter 13. And, well, for right now, that's what I want you to do.
She's being exceedingly patient with them, given that they should obviously have these documents in front of them. Being exceedingly patient with them, being very specific in what she needs, and saying, just go get your computer, or if you need to move to a desktop, that's fine. And they can do that. That is fine, but they don't want to, so they're not going to.
Can you do that?
No, they have to have a deposition.
I'm wondering about where we get the petition from the Chapter 13.
I need a replay right there. Hold on. That is the exact response I expected.
And you and Mr. Owens can move over there, or if you have a laptop that you can put in front of you. But I need for you to pull up docket number 78 that was docketed yesterday in this case. And then I'm going to also ask that you pull up your petition from the Chapter 13. And, well, for right now, that's what I want you to do. Can you do that?
I'm wondering about where we can get the petition from the Chapter 13.
I'm wondering where we can get the petition to the Chapter 13. On your computer. On your computer, you absolute genius. how did this family make it this long? I honestly don't know. I'm not sure they know how to. I'm not going to say that. We're going to move on. I'm not going to. No.
Point on the 2024 income is that I had not, the difference is that I had not, when we filed for Chapter 13, I had not done our taxes for 2024. So I did not have the accurate information for 2024 when we filed for the...
Lady, please. Making Bear says, go get the laptop. Hey, you can come in here if you want to. I'm going to be on for another 30 minutes at least, so let me know. I don't know if you're probably busy, though, because you got kids and all that.
Chapter 13, and we also felt that we were filing for the LLCs and not for that had nothing to do with our personal situation. So the 2024, so then when
okay, so they've had these LLCs for how long, though? For how long? And we're only getting issues back to 2024. So certainly, Jan, before 2024, you knew how to operate, right? Otherwise, you're basically telling these people to dig into your finances and your crimes for the last however many years you've had those LLCs, and that's a huge fucking problem. Yikes.
we did file the Chapter 11 for this year. I had at that point done the 2024 taxes and had a chance to look more at what the actual income was.
Okay, well then let me ask you that. All right, I understand what you're saying. Now I want to ask you this. If that's the case, when you filed your statement of financial affairs on May 22nd under docket 9 in this case, you also said there was no business income at all. So if you already knew, hold on. According to what you just said, by that point, you knew what the 2024 business income was, but you didn't disclose it when you filed a sworn statement in this case on May 22nd, 2026. Isn't that true?
Nice.
You didn't disclose it.
On May 22nd, we filed the skeleton filing at the very, very last minute. We had thought that we had an attorney who was going to file for us, and he backed out at the very last minute, and so we had to file.
Is that because you didn't pay him? I think it might be because you didn't pay him. Just saying.
A skeleton filing and did the very, very bare bones that we could do, and knew that we would be amending it and presumed that we would have an attorney to handle it for us. So that was why there was virtually nothing in the filing from May the 22nd, because it was literally a last minute. May the 22nd was a Friday afternoon before the Memorial Day holiday, and the foreclosure auction for our home was scheduled the Tuesday morning at 10 o'clock. So we were in a position where, we had to do a very bare bones filing, knowing that we would be amending it and adding the correct figures.
Well, you didn't say that. In response to the question, did you have any income from employment or from operating a business during this year or the 2 previous calendars, you answered in the affirmative no on a sworn statement. You didn't say, yes, but I will amend to give the information. You said no, correct? That's what you said.
And when you have income and you're immediately using it to pay bills, you still have income. And Alice J. Hansen says that here, good grief, income in and right back out doesn't mean you don't have income. Duh. Why doesn't Jan have the paperwork in front of her? She doesn't have the paperwork in front of her because she wants to lie as long as she possibly can. But everybody knows if you have income that you have to spend on bills, you still have income. Literally everyone in America, probably every normal income family in America who has income uses it to pay their bills. Everybody knows that's still income. You can't just pretend that you don't have it just because you have to spend it on your bills.
Well,
yeah, no, is that what you said? Are you going to deny? I'm looking at it right now. You said no. When you've in docket number 9 filed under penalty of perjury in this case, you said no, there was no income from operating a business during 2026 or the 2 previous calendar years. And that would have been that was a false statement, correct?
And that was what was on May 22nd?
Yes.
Well, that was the skeleton filing that again,
I understand. I
attorney
understand.
that-
I understand. No need to repeat. No need to
Go get
repeat.
your fucking
But I'm
computer.
going to ask you
Oh my
this.
God.
It's still a false statement, correct?
correct.
Okay.
Oh,
So you didn't indicate,
That was
we're
more
going to
honest than I
amend
expected.
this. You just said no. There was no business income.
I can't believe she actually said correct instead of just like obfuscating and ranting like she has been this entire time. But okay.
Well, that was a mistake. That was
A mistake.
a mistake on my part. And as I say, we were racing to get it down to.
Lady, they've made a lot of mistakes. That wasn't one of them. That was deliberate. I mean, I can't prove that, but that's my opinion based on everything I've seen. So, hey Steve, what's up? How's it going?
To your building because we had been under the impression that it could be filed electronically.
Okay, I don't need to know.
When
That's fine. However, I do want to point out that if you look at item number 5 on docket number 9 filed in this case, you actually say that the gross income from business for 2026 was $12,500. Now, where'd you come up with that figure?
That figure was because we had leased a pony earlier in the year.
Okay.
Well, we know that, and I know you're talking about the lease for Frosted Flakes.
Frosted Flakes. Sorry,
Yeah.
I this is so unserious. I can't be serious having a discussion about a horse named Frosted Flakes. If I had to like sit there and argue with someone back and forth about Frosted Flakes, I would probably just lose my shit. So I don't know how she does it.
And so you said your business income that you list here on docket number 9 was only $12,500, and you say that that's based on the lease of the pony Frosted Flakes. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes.
But the fact of the matter is that you were actually paid $25,000 for the Frosted Flakes lease on February 27, 26. So it wasn't $12,500, it was actually $25,000, right?
Correct. And the reason that we stated it as $12,500 was because it is for a year-long lease, and I believe we were interpreting the income that up until that point as it being 50%. So in other words, it was, half a year had gone by, and so half a year was $12,500.
Okay. But you did not include any other income for 2026 besides this $12,500 on your original Chapter 11 Statement of Financial Affairs, correct?
Correct. And outside of the pension and Social Security income, that's basically the case. There has been.
When most people talk about their pension or Social Security, you think they're getting like $600 a month or something ridiculous. Like they should be getting way more. But like that is when I talk to people who have been patients or whoever who have been on disability or are using their Social Security, they get less than $1,000 a month. It's crazy. And these people get $21,000 plus per month. And they're still acting like they're like struggling poor people. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Your pony Frosted Flakes not bringing enough income for you not to have to pay all that money right away to your bills is not a problem that you should be having. And it's not something I can feel sympathy for. So.
And there have been some contributions to the GoFundMe this year. I think it would be under $1,000 for 2026 because it has remained up there. There would be the pony lease, the Social Security and pension income for 2026, some like I say, under 1,000 for the GoFundMe, and
Well, let's
a
back
very
up. Let's back up.
a minor amount.
Okay, let me back up. When you filed the Chapter 13 case, you never disclosed the GoFundMe funds, did you?
No, we didn't. Again, it was my understanding at that point that those were, the GoFundMe is considered exempt, and it's considered more like a gift as opposed to income. And again, it had all been, the majority of it had been already exhausted, 6 or 8 months before.
The majority or all of it? Because I feel like she said all of it before.
I guess 6 months before the filing of the Chapter 13.
If that's your understanding, why did you disclose it on the filing yesterday?
Oof.
Because of the fact that the folks online had brought it up, and they brought it up to the judge, and the judge had asked about it, and we have wanted to be transparent about it.
So earlier you did not want to be transparent about it?
No, it wasn't a question of not being transparent. It was simply a question of I didn't think that it was necessary. The money had been exhausted, and it was, considered a gift, and I didn't think that it was necessary.
You didn't think it was necessary. Okay.
I don't know. I think that's pretty necessary. If you ask me, it's supposedly more than they've made in a long time from any of their businesses or anything else. And they use it to pay off their credit cards. So I feel like that's pretty fucking relevant, but that's, maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. I don't know.
I want to quickly ask you, you provided our office with a copy of what is it looks like your 2024 tax return. And
Correct.
Has that been filed with the IRS?
Yes.
Okay, because I don't have a signed copy. Is there any reason why you didn't give me a signed copy?
I think I just sent you what I had from H&R Block, who had prepared it.
Are you saying, so I'm sure H&R Block gave you a copy for your own records of your signed and dated copy, did they not?
No.
I can access it online, and that's how I sent it to you. I don't have a.
No, I don't know. They didn't upload it. I don't know. It's totally their fault.
I don't have a printed out copy of it. No.
Well, you're going to have to. I would ask you that please go back to H&R Block, and I want a copy of the signed and dated return that was actually filed. Okay.
They give these people the benefit of the doubt every time. Not even the benefit of the doubt, but they are like forcing kind of to give them every possible avenue for we may have made a mistake, etc., just to show that they didn't make a mistake. They're going to continue to blow this shit off and try to make it sound like, oh, I didn't know, oh, I didn't understand, when they totally do. They do understand, and they do know. They know what they're doing, and they know that they're lying. So.
Okay, so the one that we sent you from their portal is not signed and dated?
No, it is not. Okay, so go and get that from H&R Block. And in the meantime, when I looked at your 2024 tax return, and you had H&R Block assisting you with that, correct?
Correct.
So presumably they knew what they were doing when it came to understanding what gross income is and that sort of thing.
Yes, I was working with a preparer that I have not worked with before. And I was working over the telephone with them in several sessions.
Okay, so to be clear, everyone that these people work with is somebody they haven't worked with before, because they can't keep a lawyer, they can't keep an accountant, apparently. They blame everybody for their dishonesty and their problems, and so they have to find somebody new every single time. Kind of like how Laura used a lawyer, she probably found off of Fiverr a couple of times. Like, this is ridiculous. They try to blame everybody else for their problems a million times, and their time is running out on that. Okay? It's not the accountant's problem, it's not the lawyer's problem, it's your problem.
Okay, so The 2024 tax return shows let me back up. On your most recent amendment to the schedules, you claim under oath that gross business income for 2024 was $40,785, correct?
Again, I don't have the return here, so I'm relying on you to, yeah.
That's not the
That's what I
return I'm
said,
referring to. I'm referring to your schedules that were filed yesterday, that were docketed yesterday.
Oh, okay.
The thing you put
Do
on
you
the
have that
paper-
copy up now or no?
The thing you put on the paper you submitted the night before this or the day before this, which was already over a week late at least. I mean, this is bizarre. This whole entire almost 2.5, 3 hour hearing is like the kid who didn't do their homework until recess time and tried to finish it before class started and didn't, and now they're trying to come up with every excuse in the book as to why it's not done, when the truth is they waited to the last minute because they thought they could get away with it and they couldn't. So, and I only know that because I was that kid in 6th grade.
No, I don't.
I think we're going to have you come in for a deposition, ma'am, because this just isn't working.
Yeah.
I wanted this to work where I could just go through the questions. I thought you would be more cooperative.
And this is wasting resources and time. She could have had these documents in front of her and answered these questions. But the thing is, if she answered the questions truthfully based on the document she filed under oath, she'd be in a lot of trouble right now. And instead, she's going to be in a lot of trouble whenever that deposition happens. So they're just putting it off. It's just a delay tactic.
In terms of, admitting to the things that you signed under oath, but, you sitting there saying, I don't have a copy of it in front of me, is just not going to work. We can have you sit in front of me and I'll put these documents in front of you. Your recollection, though, is it not that you said that for 2024, you realized gross income of over $40,000 from your businesses? That's what you attested to under oath in the amendment that was docketed yesterday, correct?
In cases we follow asked, why did she never go get her laptop after being asked to multiple times? Was Laura on it? It kind of sounds like she might have been. There were a couple times where it sounded like Laura might have been in the background. I can't say that with 100% certainty. I can speculate. My speculation is probably. And also, she probably just didn't want to go get it because going and getting the laptop would have opened her up to a lot more scrutiny, which she's going to be subject to anyways, unless she decides to flee, leave the country. But she's going to have to go to this deposition. She's going to have to answer these questions. It's just a waste of time. Such a waste of time, and a waste of, like I said, public resources, public time for them to do this and to not have the documents in front of them when it's be easy as hell for her to go and pick up her laptop that she used to file these documents the day before. They make these things way more complicated than they need to be because they hope they can obfuscate enough to get these people to back off them and be like, you know what, let's just let it go. But that's not going to happen per the judge. So,
yes.
Well, your tax return claims that your total gross business income was just about $6,000. Are you aware of that?
I'm wondering whether you're looking at the after expenses.
No, let's back up. You had an accountant do your tax return, and I think it's fair for us to presume an accountant understands what gross receipts means. Gross income. So I'm looking at your tax return that you say was already filed. The gross receipts that it indicates for 2024 is only $6,704. That's what you filed with the IRS.
That may be for just one of the businesses. I'm not sure. I had looked at it and I looked it over twice and it seemed okay. So I'm not sure.
Well, I'm looking at your tax return. I'm looking at your tax return.
oh boy.
And it shows the accountant that assisted you from H&R Block listed statement of profit and loss first for Nobody Told Me, LLC, which realized gross receipts in 2024 of $6,704. Okay, does that sound about right?
Right. Okay.
Okay. Now the next page on your tax return says Quartet Farms LLC, and there's 0 for gross receipts in your tax return.
And they're still talking about, I think, 2024, right? And so in 2024, Laura told the court in Clayton's family case that Quartet Farms, which she has with her mom, the company she has with her mom, were bringing in like $200,000 a year or something like that, maybe more, and that they split the income, which is the whole thing is just fucking bizarre. Why pretend under oath to be such a boss babe CEO or whatever when you're not actually making any money? You know? Or maybe they are. Maybe they did make some money, but that money was not what she painted it out to be. But you guys can't swear under oath to different things in different cases. You're going to get caught. That's going to be a problem.
The next page.
Okay.
You also have Lizmax, and that has no income. So let me ask you, where did you come up with this figure in the amendment that was filed yesterday showing $40,000 of gross receipts?
And this is for 2024?
Yes.
Okay. Well, the 6,704 for Nobody Told Me is, I'm sure, from the, whatever you call it, the 1099s that were for that. For Quartet in 2024, again, I would have to look at my records, but we were running at a loss. And
I understand, Miss Naylor, you keep trying to disregard my emphasis on gross income. I asked you earlier, do you understand what gross income means? Do you understand what that means?
By the way, Joey C says, yeah, but also why pretend to be pregnant? Obviously, to get men to sign your dating contract. I haven't tried it myself, but you know, I'm still young. I still have time. So.
Yes, I do.
Oh, wait, hold on. So what is your understanding of gross income means that it's the total receipts that the business gets before paying out any bills, right?
Correct.
Okay. So
correct.
You keep talking about how you were operating at a loss. It doesn't matter if the business is operating at a loss. Yeah. Gross income is the revenue that was generated. And you deviated again, because my question was, you attested under oath in the filing yesterday that your gross business income for the year 2024 was $40,785. That's what you attested to in the filing yesterday, correct?
Yes. Yes.
But that seems to contradict your 2024 tax return that only claims about $6,000 of gross income. They are inconsistent. Can you explain that to me?
And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm explaining to you that the Nobody Told Me income, the 6,704, must be from 1099s that we received for Nobody Told Me. For Quartet, I don't believe we had any sales or income for 2024. Any gross income. I don't believe.
Y'all are so fucked. They said they had hundreds of thousands of dollars of income in 2024. Y'all are so fucked.
We did, because we were running at a loss. As far as Lizmax is concerned, we would have had, and I know that I had given the tax preparer the details on the revenue that we had gotten from Lizmax, because we did have rental income from Lizmax. And so I'm not sure how she interpreted that, or whether that was a mistake in her.
Oh, okay. You want to say, so you're saying the accountant made a mistake, like the lawyers in the past? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that I had given her the information that there was no attempt to hide any income whatsoever because.
Well, then
Oh,
answer my question. You keep not answering my question. How did you come?
These people telling themselves constantly throughout this hearing, like, don't just. I know that the thing is, like, the DOJ attorney is asking them questions they obviously cannot answer honestly, but you have to listen to the things that they are combating without even being asked about it, like the hiding things in foreign banks. And this, like, we're not hiding any income. It's like you're kind of telling on yourself because you're lying about everything else. So why wouldn't you be lying about that too? And nobody asked you about that yet. So you're just throwing that out there because you can tell that's where this is headed, and that's a problem. That's a problem. Yikes. But these people are always telling on themselves. And the thing is, like, with Laura too, you can see it. It's like she knows where these guys' heads are going to go. It's like she knows that they're thinking like they're going to block her or whatever when she's, because of her trial and error periods, which is all ended in error, by the way. And so she says, like, don't block me, don't do this or that, and like all this kind of crazy stuff. It's like she knows what's coming at the end of the road there, because they know that that's the only way this can end, and so they tell on themselves by saying, no, not this, no, don't do this, no, not that. You know what I mean? Like, it's ridiculous. The we're not hiding money insistence multiple times when that's not the topic at hand is very telling.
Come up with the figure of $40,785 of gross income from business that was filed yesterday. Where did you get that figure from? You tell me how you calculate it.
I'm sure that is from the nobody told me income. It is from the Liz Max income from whatever rental we had gotten from that. And if there was any income for Quartet, but again, I don't believe that there was. So I believe that it is correct to say that there was zero income for Quartet. And as far as Liz Max is concerned, I'm going to have to go back and check and see, because I know that I had given the accountant the information on the rental income that we did have from Liz Max. So why it didn't translate, I think perhaps it didn't translate because we had massive losses from that. But I'm saying what we had given to you in the docket with regard to 40,000 in business income in 2024, I'm sure is accurate.
Okay, so you're saying.
Okay, so just to pause here because so AdFreak89 says she hasn't taken the plea. If you guys haven't seen this yet, Laura was given an extension, and so the trial date has been moved out to late October. No, she hasn't taken a plea. Her attorney is apparently like in the final stages of plea negotiations, which doesn't mean she's going to take it. It just means the deadline is coming up, and that's going to be the last chance for it. I don't think that Laura will take a plea. I think she's wasting time. I know that given what we're watching and listening to right now, they will not be able to pay for her attorney to go to trial, which is very expensive. It's not. Can I dismiss your pinned message? Yeah, sorry. It's not gonna go well for her with this private attorney. I don't think. There's just no way that they're going to be able to pay for that. She's going to end up again assigned to a public defender. They're going to have no other avenues left because the parents can't keep giving money to Sarah given this bankruptcy that the judge has refused to let them dismiss. So they can't keep giving assets away to their daughters without accounting for it. They're going to have to pay their bills. They're going to have to comply with the bankruptcy process. And there's no way that they can keep this private attorney, in my opinion. Laura is going to end up again with a public defender. The trial is going to be pushed out because that public defender is going to have to go through all the discovery. It's going to take a lot longer than it's anticipated right now, if you ask me. Other people might feel differently, but that's just what I think is going to happen. I think that they have been misusing their funds and their income to divert funds in a way that doesn't make it obvious that they're paying for Laura's legal fees, but they are. That's my speculation. And it's not going to last because somebody finally said no and put their foot down. And the judge said, no, you cannot just dismiss this case. I want this investigated. So, well, let's keep going here. And they do talk about that in this hearing. We're not quite there yet, but they do talk about the who's paying for Laura's attorney. And I won't spoil it for anyone who hasn't heard it yet. But the answer is stupid.
Saying that you're your federally filed tax returns are inaccurate.
No, I'm saying I need to look at how she calculated that.
Well, there's an itemization of gross receipts, and it says 0 for Lizmax and for Quartet, and it only says 6,700 for Nobody told me.
I think maybe she was in putting that in there, that maybe she was saying that we hadn't gotten any 1099s for Lizmax or for Quartet, any documented government stuff that would. I'll have to look, because I do know that I gave her that information and she may have put it, elsewhere. I mean, we didn't have any W-2s or 1099s or anything like that would have been associated with Lizmax or Quartet on the 2024 income tax. That would have only been for Nobody Told Me.
All you had to do is look at the bank statements to see the gross revenue, correct?
No, not well. I mean,
I looked at the bank statements and I was able to calculate the gross income of each of the entities for the 18-month period for which you gave me the bank statements. In any event, this is something that I'm going to have to pursue in a deposition with you, because again, I need you to have these documents in front of you. One of the things that you did finally admit to in your recent filing is that you are paying the living expenses of your daughter, Laura Owens, correct?
Correct.
And
no, Laura Owens was right. Laura is owing a lot of money, but Laura Owens is technically her name. All right.
You state in Schedule J that your monthly expenses for her, and you referred to her as a dependent, correct?
Y'all got a 36-year-old dependent. Like, make her get a job, damn it. So you can see, like, all the stuff that she's done throughout her life. She's gotten her, college degree through, I think it was it Penn State Online? I'm not sure. Some online university, which is fine. But she got her college degree. She was doing the radio show, the podcast. She was claiming she was a CEO of these companies. Like, she can work. She just doesn't want to do the jobs that she is qualified for and would be accepted into at this point, which is probably going to be working in something in the service industry where they'll overlook things that you've done, or like jobs that have a higher demand but don't pay very well. Unfortunately, while I believe they should be paid better, they aren't, and there's still a lot of demand for, like, fast food workers, stuff like that, waitresses, because they can't keep their staff because of how they treat them, and it sucks that those are the jobs that are probably going to be available to her. But she can work and she should work, and that's what needs to happen. But instead, she is a 36-year-old dependent on her parents who are going through a bankruptcy case because they can't live on $20-something thousand per month because their daughter keeps doing crime.
Correct.
Okay, and you say, well, where did you put this? Let me see. Hold on.
Hey, Sarah, what's up?
1 second. Okay. Let me just go.
Oh, whoops. Didn't mean to do that. Sorry.
Campaign girl by the U.S. Attorney, Jen.
Excuse me. Who is that? You, Miss Naylor, speaking?
Not me.
Not me.
Somebody just again.
And there have been a couple times where people interrupted by not muting their phone in this, and a couple times it seemed that it did actually come from Ron and Jan. There was at least one time where it seemed to have actually come from Jennifer's office, which they fixed. And there was, one time probably where it was somebody who didn't mute their phone. I would remind people in these hearings, just make sure you mute your phone before you hit the pound key or whatever to dial in. But they, I don't necessarily buy a couple of times that we heard that it wasn't them, because it sounded very much like Ron or Laura in the background.
Okay, I am looking at your statement of financial affairs that was docketed yesterday, and it says that you have for between 2024 and 2025 that you gave gifts to Laura Owens in the total amount of $19,608. Correct?
That I gave what to her?
Holy hell, man. Who gets like almost $20,000 just for funsies?
You gave gifts through ongoing monthly support to your daughter, Laura Owens, of $19,608.
They're also paying for her car, all her food, and everything else, her living expenses. She doesn't pay rent. And they're just giving her $20,000 for funsies?
Okay.
That's what you said in your sworn statement, correct?
Correct. Yes. I couldn't understand what you had said. Correct.
Okay. Well, tell me how you calculated that amount.
From the fact that we pay for her car.
No, I need to know specifically how you came up with that number. I don't need generalities. I want to know specifically how you came up with the amount $19,608. What does that include for the period 2024 to 2025?
It includes clothing. It includes food. It includes whatever.
Y'all know she's using their credit cards for that, right? I mean, I can't, obviously, again, this is speculation. I can't prove this, but y'all know she's using their credit cards for that shit, right? When she buys food or she pays for clothes, she's not using her own money for that. So, why are they giving her $20,000 on top of that is my question. I think that it's pretty obvious to me that she's using their accounts to pay for things on her own. And then they're additionally giving her money on top of that so that they can hide what she's paying for with it. Because she's not under scrutiny here right now.
Whatever the housing would be, it includes the car, the insurance, it includes the basic, life necessities.
Well, I know what you're telling me it includes, but how did you calculate it? What amount did you attribute for that 2-year period to food?
Best guess estimates,
well, you came up with this figure recently. And you came up with a very specific figure of $19,608 or whatever it was. Let me go back there. $19,608. That's a very specific amount, Ms. Naylor, and I want to know how you calculated it. Do you have an itemization somewhere that you wrote down, what it was that you included in that as gifts to your daughter?
I was ballparking it.
You ballparked a number and said $19,608 for a ballpark figure?
Well, again, if you're talking about day-to-day living expenses and having to go back.
No, I'm asking you, you just said that you ballparked a figure. If you're going to ballpark a figure, wouldn't it be a round number? You said $19,608. That's a very specific number. How did you ballpark a figure at $19,608?
Jesus Christ.
Just, again, looking at basically the cost of the car, the cost of the insurance, the estimated, living things. Just what she would have been, entitled to. I don't run a calculator and keep track of everything. I was trying to estimate that this is.
So you gave an amount of $19,608 for as a ballpark figure. Is that you just came up with that?
Somebody says on Big Tip talks about an additional document just filed. Says Laura has access to take money out of their account. Yeah, that's true. I haven't gone over those, but I did see them yesterday, and I'm not surprised. And like I said, I think she's just using their accounts, their credit cards, whatever, to pay for stuff, and so they're not actually giving her money for that. I think that she's using the money they're giving her for something else that they don't want a record of in their bank account. So that's just my thought.
that out of nowhere? Some made up figure?
Again, no, it's not a made up figure.
It is, though.
Of estimates that I figured,
It is.
were accurate.
Okay.
Estimates, ballpark, means you made it up. You guessed. That's make believe.
Well, let me ask you this. This was supposed to cover the period, according to your own sworn statement here, for 2024 through 2025, correct?
Correct.
And you say that that included amounts that you were funding for her car and car insurance?
Correct.
Well,
because we also share, we share the car with her.
well, whose name is the car in?
I kind of doubt that. I doubt that. That's just my thought. I doubt that. I think that they paid for that out of their accounts, and the money they sent to her was separate and was not used for that. That's my hunch, but that's just my hunch.
Whose name is the car in?
The car is in her name.
Okay. So I just calculated, if you take the amount of the car payments and the car insurance payments for a 2-year period, that's over $25,000. So clearly the figure that you gave for gifts is understated, wouldn't you say?
Well, again, I would say that part of that car expense and that insurance expense is used by us. And I would also mention the fact that the car and insurance costs have recently really soared compared to what they were in 2024 and 2025 because of the bankruptcy situation. The car costs soared, as did the insurance.
Uh-huh.
Let me ask you, you're claiming that you're claiming you have some kind of equitable interest in the car. Is that what you're trying to say?
I'm saying that we use the car, that my husband and I use the car.
Well, you use the car, but do you claim that you have any kind of interest in that vehicle?
I mean, we pay the expense for it.
I'm asking if you claim any interest in the car, Mrs. Owens. Do you claim any interest in that vehicle?
I haven't ever even thought about it.
Well, I'm think about it now. Do you claim any type of?
When you agreed to buy it for her and pay these monthly payments, I think you probably thought about it. Just saying. I don't think that's really convincing.
Equitable interest in any entitlement to that car? Yes or no? I need a yes or no answer. You either do claim that you have some kind of ownership or equitable interest in the lease, or you claim that you do not. Which is it?
Well, I think that legally, since my name and my husband's name are not on it, I would think that legally, no, we don't. But from a practical standpoint, we pay for it. So,
well, you pay for it as a gift to your daughter, you said. That's what you included in the gifts that you.
Bruce says, so cut the car stuff in half. Even if you do that, the gifts to Laura put her above the limit for taxable gifts and put her above the limit for indigency. Yeah. This is ridiculous, though. I mean, they're just doing everything they can to try to avoid accountability possible, and they're running out of options here. It's painful to listen to, and at the same time, it's kind of hysterical. So I don't even know what to say anymore.
You listed on the Statement of Financial Affairs, right?
Yes. Yes.
Well, let me ask you, when you put down in the amount of, and I guess what I'm going to have to do is ask you formally for documents, and I'm going to be asking for copies of all the insurance between 2024 through today, so I can see it precisely. I mean, you're claiming that that soared, that all of a sudden it's a much higher amount, but I want to know how much you have been paying exactly on insurance and the vehicle lease, so we could figure out how you came up with this $19,000 gift figure. But I'm wondering, Does that figure include the $3,500 of payments you made to your daughter's criminal defense attorney in July of 2025?
Yikes, dude. Silence. Silence.
Does the $19,000 include that?
Yep.
The $19,000 was just in terms of basic, expenses.
Okay, so your bank records reflect that on July 9th, 2025, you paid $1,500 to Josh Colesrud.
Oh.
Then on July 10th, 2025, you paid $1,500 to Josh Colesrud. And on July 11th, 2025, you paid $500 to Josh Colesrud. So that's a total of $3,500 to Josh Colesrud, who was your daughter's criminal defense attorney at one point. Is that correct?
Correct.
Why didn't you include?
Oh, baby, that's awkward. Oh my God. So, like I said, I believe they started paying money to Laura and Sarah so that Laura could pay this new attorney without there being a paper trail. But I don't think it's going to work out that way. I think they're going to dig a little further into the family's finances after this. But Laura's criminal attorney, he wasn't free. And then the one she has now is not free. And this is not going to continue to work out. Like, people who donated to that GoFundMe will now know that they used money to pay for Laura's criminal defense attorney when they alleged that they were trying to stay on their feet because of Ronn's health issues. Yikes. That silence on the other end of the phone after she said that was all you really need to know.
When you paid that money, was that a gift to your daughter?
It wasn't something I was thinking of one way or the other.
Okay, so we can assume then that she did not include that in the gift amount, which would keep it under the taxable limit. Right? It's kind of a problem.
Legal expense.
Well, it wasn't your legal expense. It was your daughter's legal expense, right?
Correct.
So why isn't that included among the amount that you gifted to your daughter on your sworn statements?
Again, because I don't really consider that a gift. I consider that a legal expense.
Of your daughter, correct?
I mean, I don't. If I contributed to somebody else's attorney's fees, I wouldn't think of it as like a legal expense. I would think, yes, I gave this person money to help them pay for a lawyer as a gift to help them because that's what I wanted to do. But that's not my legal expense, right? So that doesn't make any sense.
Well,
you're gonna claim. Wait a minute. Just stop. Are you going to sit here and claim that the attorney payments to your daughter's attorney, Mr. Colesrud, was anything for you other than a payment for your daughter's criminal defense? That was for her criminal defense. He was her lawyer, not your lawyer, right?
Well, part of our family businesses, including our podcast, Nobody Told Me, and that she
podcast, which makes no new episodes for a very long time, by the way. So that's hardly an active business.
Was a part of. So I think that helping her defend herself on that helps the family overall and the family businesses overall.
Idiot. You're an idiot. No, companies don't pay the legal expenses of their employees for abusing random people, especially when it's not on company time and it's not on behalf of the business. Are you saying that Laura's fraud was a business activity? Was Laura's abuse of Clayton, Mike, and Greg on behalf of the family business? Are you all abusers? Is that what we're saying? Be very careful with that. I mean, the answer, in my opinion, is yes, but be careful admitting that in this context.
All. I mean, that's, so I think that it's not something that you can just say, oh, that's just to help her. That it needs to be done for the family reputation as well.
Okay, so you're going to deny that the money that you paid to your daughter's criminal defense attorney were gifts to her?
Well, I'm
asking you if you're denying that. Either you admit that they were gifts or you don't. Yes or no? Just tell me yes or no. If you don't think they were gifts, say, I know I don't think they were gifts. If you do believe they were gifts,
I'm saying I don't see it as a gift. I see it as an expense for the reputation of the family.
Okay.
And our ability to go forward with regard to some of the businesses that we've had.
Well, is the Nobody Told Me podcast still ongoing?
It's still available online, and we are still making some income from it. And
Lady,
yeah,
you're making like $4 from that. Why don't you just get a job?
Okay, let's see. I understand that you currently hold $7,000 in cashier checks that were not previously disclosed when you first filed this case on May 22nd. Is that correct?
I did not hold the $7,000 in cashier's checks on May 22nd. I just recently took those out.
Why did you take out $7,000 of cashier's checks since filing this case? And you took it out of what, your bank account that you had at the time of the bankruptcy filing?
Yes, I took it out. It was because we did not set up the debtor in possession accounts. And we didn't do those because we had early on realized that we wanted to dismiss this. And the money that goes into our accounts is Social Security and pension income. And going forward, because we weren't continuing with the Chapter 11, it didn't seem to make sense to set up the DIP account. And also my understanding was that I really would need an attorney to go with me to set up those accounts. And as we previously discussed, we were unable to find counsel for that. So I didn't know whether that was actually going to be required of me since we have filed for dismissal. So I wanted to protect the money that has been in those accounts and to take it out as cashier's checks that I have on hand. If it were to be required that I set up the DIP accounts, I wanted to have that cash available, or the money available to deposit if need be.
All right. So what account did you take those $7,000 of cashier checks out of?
That was taken out of our main checking account, 0140. I believe it all came out of that account.
And what was the source of the cashier's checks? Who issued those to you?
Bank of America.
Well, let me ask you, when I'm looking at the time that you filed this case on May 22nd, you said that there was only $100 in the Bank of America account ending 0140. So was that false?
No, that was true.
So then when did that $7,000 go into the account 0140?
On July 1st, it was, we get our pension checks on the 1st of the month. And so there were, that's what it had come from the monthly deposits.
But it doesn't, your pension checks don't come out to be a round number of $7,000. So I don't understand, like how many cashier's checks do you have?
I have one for 1,000 and one for 6,000.
Okay, and you got the cashier's checks drawn from your own account that held $7,000 in it.
It held more money than that in it, but that money was being used to pay for day-to-day living expenses, and we had an automatic withdrawal coming up for the car insurance, and so I did not close those accounts, but took the majority of what was in there out, so that again, if I were required to do the debtor in possession accounts, I would have the funds to do it.
Okay. I'll have to see. I mean, you're not to spend that money. Do you understand that?
Correct.
Okay. At this point, you have to be mindful of the fact that you're in bankruptcy and you can't be like taking money out of accounts and then hiding it like that. Maybe you should.
Right, and that's why I had it. That's deliberately why I had it in cashier's checks, so that it would be very clear that I wasn't attempting to hide it.
Okay. Sure, lady. Let me read through these really quick, and we'll keep going for a little bit longer. So ad freak, thank you for the 100 gems. We got Buffy Lynn with the 30 gems. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, guys. Cindy Lawson, thank you for the $5. Laura should be ashamed of herself for bankrupting her parents. Jan should be ashamed of herself for being this stupid. I agree with that. Daily Dysfunction, thank you for the 2 gems. First Best Gigi, thank you for the 2 gems. Let's see what else we got here. Lori Jane, thank you for the $2. Could she get out of this by postponing depot after August? I don't think so. If she postpones it, it's still going to be the reckoning just like later. You know what I mean? I don't think so. If anyone else can answer that question, let me know. CT8306, thank you for the 350 gems. I appreciate that. It's me, Asher B, thank you for the 250 gems. All right, Snow Wonder, thank you for the 680 gems. I appreciate that. And Jackie Swan, thank you for the 20 pounds. Thank you very much. Hi, Lauren. Thank you for bringing this absolutely amazing display of gaslighting into my life. You're welcome. At least I don't have to listen to it alone. I heard the first half of this before the stream yesterday, but I haven't heard this second part at all. So this is my first time listening to this as well. So.
Okay, well, maybe you should just deposit it back in there. I don't know what's going to happen with the dismissal. I know that we have a hearing on the 27th. If the judge at that point, I think what you need to do is put it back into your account is what I think you need to do.
Well, would it be possible for me to set up a different account, because I had gotten notified by Bank of America that as of August 10th, they are closing our business account for Quartet Farms, and I'm concerned that they might close.
No, that tracks. That tracks.
Those the other accounts that we could I open? Would I have your permission to open an account with a credit union and deposit that money in the credit union account?
What I'm going to say is this. I think that you are currently in a Chapter 11 bankruptcy that has not been dismissed, and therefore your obligation is to open up a debtor in possession account, and that's what you should be doing. That's all I'm going to say. You have to determine for yourself. I can't give you legal advice, but that has been your obligation since the day you filed this case, that you were required to open a debtor in possession account, and you have not. So
they never thought they were going to have to get this far. They thought they could get away with it. They thought they would get their case dismissed, and they thought they would be done with it. They thought they could install the foreclosure that way. These people very clearly are not prepared to deal with the consequences of their actions, and did not think that they ever had to be prepared for it, because they've been able to avoid it for this long. But it's not going well.
I'll just leave it at that. So are you still supporting your daughter, Laura Owens?
Yeah.
And does she earn any income on her own?
She has been unable to.
Well, my answer is, that's just listen to my question. Does your daughter earn any income of her own currently? Yes or no?
Ever.
No.
Okay.
No.
So I understand just from public information that your daughter has a private criminal defense attorney, currently, correct?
Here we go with that. And I'm sure Laura's probably somewhere lurking around, very upset about this line of questioning. But this is going to be an uncomfortable confrontation.
Correct.
Are you paying for that attorney?
No.
Who's paying for that?
I don't know. I have not addressed this with her.
Okay, and just to point this out for a second, I'm to understand that based on what Jan is saying here, that Laura, who depends on her for every aspect of her life and to remind her to like breathe oxygen and shit like that, who told her mom in explicit detail about the sexual encounter she had with Clayton and probably the other guys as well, who told her how many seconds she gave him a blowjob for, or how many seconds he supposedly, did whatever for, in that graphic detail, has not told her mother who is paying for her private criminal defense attorney. Right. Okay. I just wanted to work through that one because I feel like that's a little fucking crazy. You expect me to believe that?
She knows that we don't have the funds to pay her, and I know she's been.
You have no idea
Working
how
on her
your
own.
attorney, you have no idea how your daughter who lives with you and who completely relies on you for all of her support is paying for a criminal defense attorney and for pending felony counts against her. Is that what you're telling me? You have no idea? Is that what you're
I
saying?
know that she has been working to.
Oh, honey, she hasn't been working ever.
Pardon me?
I'm asking if that's what you're
I know
expecting
that
me.
she has been. She.
Go ahead.
I'm telling you, she knows that we don't have the funds to help her at this point. And so she has.
We don't have the funds because we gave it to her sister so she could give it to the attorney, is what we're actually probably listening to here. But that's just my speculation.
Reached out to others to help her with this.
What others?
So
And
you're.
the details.
What others? She's made it quite clear she doesn't really have anyone else in her life at this point. What others? I mean, Jesus. She doesn't have anyone who speak on her behalf that isn't a paid attorney.
Of it, I don't know.
So you have no idea how your daughter's paying for her current criminal defense attorney. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying.
No, is
that
that what you're saying?
I don't.
Either you do not know or you
Yes.
do know. Do you know?
I'm saying we told her we can't
The refusal to answer yes or no questions is fantastic.
help her with it, and I know that she has reached out to others to help her, and I don't know the details.
Okay, so you're expecting me to believe that the daughter that you support fully and who lives with you has not told you how she's able to pay for her criminal defense attorney currently. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Okay.
she's
All right.
36.
Okay.
She's
One of the
30.
things, all right, let's move on. One of the things that you put in the Schedule I,
And that's going to come back up later, I'm sure, during their deposition, which is going to be private. We won't be able to listen to it, but that is going to come back up. There's going to be questions about these payments she sent to their daughters, especially, claiming they gave $19,000 to Laura, $19,608 exactly below the taxable limit, and then refused to quantify whatever payments they spent on her car and whatever else. So that, this was all very intentional.
that you just filed, all of a sudden you decided to disclose that you get income from this Nobody Told Me podcast, and you had never previously disclosed that in your prior Chapter 13 or your original Chapter 11 schedules, correct?
Correct, because again, it was an LLC, and it has been absolutely decimated.
Okay, I don't, you're saying, you're giving me some reason that doesn't make any sense to me, but all of a sudden, for the first time, you have decided that you were going to disclose that Nobody Told Me generates income to you of $50 per month. That's the first time you have ever disclosed that was on this filing from yesterday, right?
Right.
Okay. So let me ask you something. You keep talking about expenses and you say you understand what gross income means. Why didn't you disclose on Schedule I of your documents?
Just to put it for everyone who doesn't know, gross income is like income that you get when you're like, ew, gross, I have to use this to pay my bills. Okay. Just moving on.
That was filed yesterday. You look at Schedule I, it requires for business income, and nobody told me LLC is a business, correct?
It's a what?
Nobody told me I had to account for the money I paid for my daughter's attorney.
I'm sorry, you broke up there.
Nobody told me LLC is your business. It's a business.
Correct.
Why didn't you report this $50 of income on item line 8A, which asks for net income from operating a business? Why didn't you do that?
Because it's so small.
Well, I'm sorry,
like
Miss Naylor, you don't get to decide where things go on the forms just because you think it's trivial. You need to fix this, and you need to properly report this on item 8A. And one of the things that you will see is that item 8A requires that you attach a statement for each business showing gross receipts, ordinary and necessary business expenses, and then the total monthly net income. So you need to do that, okay?
Okay.
All right. And I also understand that you failed to pay the fee, the filing fee for the amendment that was just docketed yesterday. Can you explain why you didn't pay that?
Well, that's just a silly little trivial thing. That's why she didn't pay it, because it costs so little. These people are driving me nuts, dude.
Fee?
We did pay the fee.
When did you pay it?
We paid it yesterday. We spoke to
Yesterday.
Raquel in the.
Okay. But you didn't.
We amended something yesterday, and
I paid it out of my change purse. That's where we're hiding the money.
And paid it. Paid $34. Is that what you're talking about?
I'm talking about the fact that at docket 74, the court or the clerk issued a notice that you failed to pay the fee with respect to this amendment filed at docket 78.
Well, it has been paid.
Okay. Well, you're saying it was paid yesterday. Well, okay. I'm just telling you, I'm looking at docket 74 from yesterday that said that the $34 fee was not paid, but now you're saying it was paid?
Yeah.
Okay. Also, one of the things that you failed to include in your amendment was the summary of assets and liabilities. Can you explain to me why you didn't include that required document?
Again, an oversight. Again, I'm not. This is why I have filed to dismiss this, because I'm not an attorney and I don't.
Okay, the judge said no. So, and the judge said no last month, I believe, or I don't know if it was last month. It was a while ago. All right. Actually, you know what? I can find out right now. Hang on. When did I do my last stream about this? Because that was when the judge said no. Not the one yesterday, but the one before that. Let's see. Okay, so it wasn't that long ago. I guess it was 2 weeks ago, but still. If the judge said no a couple weeks ago, or however long ago she said no, you should be fully prepared to face this situation head on by now. You've had all the time in the world. No one in that household works ever, apparently. They don't have any business income. Laura won't get a job. Her parents are retired. They have plenty of time to deal with this. And it is their obligation, as they decided to take this on, knowing that they didn't have an attorney. So that doesn't really matter.
Have the ability, to do this. I know a lot of attorneys don't even handle Chapter 11, and they handle 7 and 13, but they don't handle 11 because it is so complicated, and it's clearly way above my pay grade.
Okay, well, you need to file that. So you need to amend Schedule I to move the income from nobody told me up to item 8A, and you need to file a summary of assets and liabilities. Okay?
There's a 0% chance Jan knows how to do that, I think. Probably, but okay.
Also, I believe you were required to file a monthly operating report on June 21st for the last month, showing your income and expenses for the last month of May, but you didn't do that. Can you explain why?
Silly deadlines.
Again, because we had filed for dismissal.
Lady, your dismissal was denied.
Was thinking that this would be dismissed and that would not be required.
She's known for weeks that it was not going to be dismissed and that it was required. Actually, in fact, she, accounted for the GoFundMe funds the night before this hearing, way after the deadline, mind you. She didn't care about that deadline either, because she knew that this wasn't getting dismissed and the judge ordered them to provide that. So that's ridiculous.
Okay. Let me ask you, I want to make sure that there aren't other accounts that you previously had that you haven't disclosed. Did you have a Wells Fargo account at some point in the last few years?
Yeah, I did. I had a checking account that I think it had like under, I don't know, it was overdrawn last I heard.
Well, did you close the account?
I believe Wells Fargo closed the account.
Okay, and when do you believe they did that?
Well, to be fair, the account was under Frosted Flakes' name, so.
Around the time of the Chapter 13 filing. I don't have the exact date.
But you never.
I believe that they were listed. I think they were listed as a creditor that I put them like $218 or something.
Okay, well, they might have been listed as a creditor, but you never listed the account as having been closed within 1 year prior to the bankruptcy. Why not?
Well, again, because I didn't close it, I believe they did.
It doesn't matter.
And I don't know when.
It doesn't matter.
But I don't know.
You were required.
Or,
let me just tell you, you were required to disclose. Let's see, I can give you the exact wording. Within 1 year before the bankruptcy, were any financial accounts held in your name or for your benefit closed, sold, moved, or transferred. It doesn't say did you, it say were any accounts closed. And you did not disclose the Wells Fargo account, correct?
Correct.
And that's a false statement because there was an account that was closed in your name.
Yikes.
Okay.
Is that right?
Yes, yeah.
All right, guys. I think I'm going to save the last 30 minutes or so of this for tomorrow. We'll go over it tomorrow night. Vibe Flux World, thank you for the 10 gems. I appreciate that. And yeah, I'll probably call it for tonight. We've been going for almost 2 hours, and yeah, I want to go over the last bit of this when I have enough energy and patience to pay attention to it, and I can feel myself fading. Let's put it that way. So we'll have to do another Quiplash stream soon, and I got an email requesting that Bruce and I do a bad advice stream. So I was thinking about doing that, but we have to talk Bruce into it. So yeah. All right. Thanks, guys. Don't forget to hit the like button for me. I appreciate that. It helps me out a lot. And I will see you all tomorrow. I'll go ahead and schedule it, the part 3, and that'll be the last. We'll definitely get through the end of this tomorrow. And I will post it on the Reddit, on my Patreon page, which I use for notifications, and on Twitter. So if you want to see the link to it for tomorrow, hit notification to tell you when it's happening. Just you can look there. So, all right. Thanks, everybody. Sorry, well, bleh, can't talk. Thanks, mods. I appreciate you, and I will see you guys tomorrow. All right. Bye.